somewhere up here. I still have a thing where I did on a water ski and the ski just went,
Yep, that happens.
well, that was the fastest thing I ever saw. I had no way to get out of the way and that went.
I was barefooting one time, it fell.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I should find out. Should. She's like a player. Until she gets a wheel bit more.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, we will go ahead and get started. I will call to order the May 6, 2026 meeting of the Indiana Alcohol and Tobacco Commission. And I will note that we have a quorum, 2 commissioners present in the hearing room, and I'm on virtually today. Next item on the agenda, the disposition of minutes from the April 21st, 2026 meeting.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, we've received a copy of the minutes of the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission for April 21st, 2026. I have reviewed that. It complies with my notes and my memory. I move we accept the proposed minutes of the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission for the meeting of April 21st, 2026.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item, prosecutor's recommendations.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, there was a report submitted by the prosecutor showing that in this recent period, there were 62 alcohol and tobacco fines for a total of $44,300. A number of those are worthy of note. There are actually 8 of them. 5 of them have to do with hemp sales. Indianapolis, Morrisville, DeMott in Jasper County, Rush County, and again in Marion County. They were all the sale of hemp, and they all resulted in an agreement of $1,000 fine and 7-day suspension. 3 are different. The first from Marion County, Good Life, resulted from an inspection. The officers found a digital scale, hemp, and flavored nitrous oxide, resulting in a $2,000 civil penalty and a 7-day suspension. The next comes also from Minneapolis, vape and things. The officer conducted a review based upon a complaint of the smell of marijuana. They went there and discovered 50 smokable hemp products. They also discovered synthetic urine being sold and nitrous oxide. This resulted in a $3,000 civil penalty by agreement and a 7-day suspension of the tobacco certificate. And finally, in Fort Branch, Gibson County, Max Vape and Smoke Shop, Zen nicotine products, they were counterfeit, resulting from an inspection. The parties have agreed to a $1,000 civil penalty, 7-day suspension of the tobacco certificate. I move acceptance of the prosecutor's reports.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item, consideration of applications. There are 376 renewal applications.
I move acceptance of the report and incorporate by reference this list of 376 applications for renewal, which have been recommended by local boards and reviewed by the staff with authority of the commission. Hereby move for approval of same pending any needed escrow hearings and inclusion of this list as part of the minutes of this meeting of May 6, 2026.
Second.
Been moved in.
Jessica, we can't hear you.
You went blank.
There
There you go.
Can you see? Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item, 27 new and transfer applications.
I incorporate by reference this list of 27 permit applications for a new permit or applications for changes in ownership or location or both of existing permits, which have been recommended by local boards and reviewed by a commissioner, and hereby move approval of the same pending a floor plan approval by the state excise police and an escrow hearing if needed. An inclusion of this list as part of the minutes of this meeting of May 6, 2026.
Second.
It's been,
We lost you again.
it's been.
Not yet.
Okay.
There you go.
He said moved and seconded.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 47 catering applications.
I incorporate by reference this list of 47 permit applications for catering and hereby move for approval of same and the inclusion of this list as part of the minutes of this meeting of May 6, 2026.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 31 direct wine shipper applications.
I incorporate by reference this list of 31 new and renewal direct wine shipper permits and hereby move approval of the same and inclusion of this list as part of the minutes of this meeting of May 6, 2026.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Waivers of fees for letters of extension.
We've received information regarding waivers of fees for letters of extension. I move acceptance of those notices.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Items for discussion. The first item for discussion is RC 8400191, Wayne Newton Post number 346 of the American Legion Incorporated. This is a renewal with the local board voting 2-2.
Yes, this comes to us from Vigo County. This business has had a number of violations, some 5 violations in the past 10 years. 4 since 24. And a lot of repeat violations, most for unauthorized beverages, buying from other retail to sell in this retail business, which is not permitted. They also have had non-member sales and refilling bottles, scope of permit, and changes to the floor plan. I will note that the violations are non-violent, but there are quite a few violations and they are repeat violations. They have been in business for quite some time and should know how to operate a business. It's disturbing when they failure repeatedly to follow laws and regs. We have not received a corrective action plan from this business. I am going to ask that we reschedule, or I'm gonna move that we reschedule this to the May 19th meeting and ask that legal get in touch with them and ask for a corrective action plan dealing with the issues that are in the violations for the past 10 years. That's-
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do they need an extension or is your
Um,
intent?
No, they have an extension that's still in force until I believe July the 7th. No,
Okay.
that's the local board and they're scheduled. Hang on one second. First extension, second extension. I'm sorry, I'm not reading that in my notes, but if they do need an extension, I amend my motion to grant them an extension to get them through the next hearing date of May the 19th.
Second that.
All right. Second, I would just note, I would like the corrective action plan on this one. I listened to local board and there was a lot of talk about who reported them for violations, why they were reported for violations, but not a lot of substance on what they are doing, what controls they have in place. There was talk about hiring a new manager, but not what checks and balances they have in place to make sure the laws are followed. So I would like the corrective action plan on this one. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item is RR 4194243 DNB Keller Enterprises Incorporated. This comes on a question of transfer.
Yes, this comes to us from Johnson County. We had continued this and requested affidavits from the buyer and seller and also the purchase agreement. They are represented by a preparer and he has gotten us one affidavit and the purchase agreement and stated that the other affidavit, that individual is tied up with a family health matter. This sounds very serious and totally understand why we can't get that one at this time. Since we have gotten the purchase agreement and one affidavit, I'm going to move that we grant the transfer of the permit. I would also ask that when this is completed, that we get proof that the payment that was stated to us, that amount that it was paid. And I make that motion for RR 4194243 DNB Keller Enterprises Inc.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item is RR 1123795 Mario Bros Incorporated. This matter comes on for an extension request.
This comes to us from Brazil, Indiana. It did expire on April the 1st of 25. They have had extensions. They have several violations in the past 10 years, some 4 violations. One is still pending. The violations were for no employee permits, signage, alcohol business operated by a retailer or dealer, bootlegging, no employee permits, and another bootlegging. They are scheduled for the local board for consideration of renewal of their permit with violation. They are scheduled on May the 11th. I'm going to move that we grant an extension until May the 19th of 26 so that we can review what the local board, what activity and statements they have for the local board and decide then what further we may want to do with this permit. And I make that motion for RR 1123794 Mario Bros Inc.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Just for clarification, did you say one of their violations was still pending?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Okay, I think it's been settled.
It has settled?
Pretty sure.
I
Okay.
think so, which is good
Okay.
because then my concern is local board probably won't hear it if they have a
Right.
still pending violation. So it's settled. So I would anticipate and I would expect that permit holder be ready to go and be heard on their May 11th local board.
Yes, you are correct. I have an earlier note on that. I didn't look through the bottom part. It was paid on, April the 8th.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that clarification. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item for discussion is RR 4938160 End Zone Bar and Grill LLC. This is on for reconsideration of an extension that was previously granted. It was on our agenda at our last meeting, but excise had not finalized their report yet, so we continued it to today so that we could review their report. We also have a corrective action plan from December, and their attorney filed something with us related to the reconsideration. So I'll open that for discussion.
Yes, that's comes to us from here in Indianapolis. As you stated, our officers in IMPD, two of our officers in IMPD did quickly put together a review and detailed notice of violation on this for us. There is a pending violation. They were scheduled for the local board, which has now been continued. They had submitted the corrective action plan to us in December, but it looks as if they did not adhere to that corrective action plan, which showed up in the notice of violation. So I'm going to move that we grant an extension or keep the extension on this. There is one in place until July the 7th. But I'm gonna move that we reschedule this for our next meeting, which is May the 19th, to look at that extension again. And I would like legal to contact them and ask for explanation on the cap, to give us a corrected cap as to why they were not following the screening processes that they had outlined in their December cap that they were doing, which led to further the new violation. And I make that motion for RR 4938160 End Zone Bar and Grill LLC.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I show that I have a response from an attorney for the permittee on April 20th, 2026. I don't know if that needs to be reviewed again as an explanation of issues.
I think
Well,
I noted
ahead.
when I called this that we had a document from their attorney.
But I don't think that addresses the corrective action plan statements and what appears to be a violation of that corrective action plan with the new notice of violation.
I think the discrepancies seem to be that they told us in the corrective action plan they were going to have certain screening procedures related to wanding metal detectors, checking bags, and they weren't doing that from what the officers observed in the video. And so I think the corrective action plan has to be more than words on a page for me. It has to be what you actually do in operation on Friday and Saturday nights. So I think what I'm looking for is basically it's on the permittee now to convince me that what they're telling us is what's going to happen on Friday and Saturday nights.
And my record indicate, Madam Chair, that we have received a new Indiana State Excise Police report for the incident in April, late April. Maybe it should address that also.
I think that's where we get the information.
Yeah, so I think that's what we're looking
Yeah,
for in
right.
the corrective action plan. These are the, charges. And it looks like those don't comply with the last, corrective action plan. So they need to update and explain, what happened there.
Right. Thank
And I
you.
think the other discrepancy that I would be looking for clarification on is the corrective action plan said they were now using a licensed security company. The report said that they had gone back to using an unlicensed security company. So clarify for us whether your security company you were using on the night of the incident was licensed. If they are licensed, what was their name and permit number with professional licensing agency?
I
Any
agree.
further discussion?
No.
All right, not seeing any. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next, item for discussion is RR 49044646 Buckeye Beverage Corp. This matter comes on for an extension request.
Yes, it comes to us from Indianapolis and, the permit did expire on, April the 19th. It has had 6 violations in the past 10 years. It has 2 that are pending, which are not resolved. I will note that this, business, is and was on PACE, our, program for businesses that are having problems, and work with excise to correct those. And we had violations while they were on PACE. We did get a corrective action plan from their attorney, and I will note that, they just hired new counsel. The corrective action plan does go into a bit of detail, does give some good information. But one thing that I thought was missing on the corrective action plan, it does have a lot of shells and wills that they will do these things and shall do these things. Like they shall employ sufficient security personnel to ensure crowd control and safety of customers and staff. That's great, but when did they do or are they going to do that? Same for several of these others. They shall actively monitor customers entering the premises to check IDs. When did they or will they take care of that? So I would like to see some dates on this corrective action plan. I realize the council was just hired. I am asking that we grant 30 days for a new corrective action plan, an updated corrective action plan come in. And there are 2 pending violations, and I would like to see movement on those to settle or set for hearing the 2 violations. I will note that those violations did happen last year. They are getting kind of old, and we do need to have some movement to take care of those. That is my motion for RR 490446 Buckeye Beverage Corp.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Although, is there any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item for discussion is RR 4941908 Villas Pueblita Mexican Restaurant LLC. This matter comes on for an extension request.
Yes, this business in Indianapolis, had a transfer that was in the works, but the transfer has fallen through. They do not have any violations or tax hold. This is a beer and wine permit. It did expire February the 18th. They had an extension from February 19th to May the 2nd, and I move that we grant a second 90-day extension for RR 49-41908 Villas Pueblita Mexican Restaurant LLC.
Second.
Been moved. Any other discussion?
I think we're losing you again.
Is there any further discussion?
No.
All right, not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item is DL 4134207 Nova Star Oil Incorporated. This matter comes on for an extension request.
This is a beer and wine grocery down in Barkersville. It did expire February 23rd and 26th. They've notified us that they're changing stockholders, shareholders rather, and they have an extension request before us. They have no violations. I move that we grant a 90-day extension for DL 4134207 Nova Star Oil LLC.
Second.
It's been moved.
Can't hear you.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. There are two extensions to add to the agenda. Those are DL 4531806 CC Ventures LLC and RR 7136368 The Social. Can we take it by consent to add both of those?
Consent.
Consent.
All right, I will show those added by consent, and I will call DL 4531806 CC Ventures LLC.
Yes, this comes to us from Lake County. It's a packaged liquor store. It has, it expired on February 12th and 26th. It's had a first extension from February 14th to May 14th. The second extension request came in, but the check for it has been misplaced. There is a replacement check that's in the works. Since the extension does not expire until May the 14th, I'm going to move that we grant a second 90-day extension conditional upon the extension check getting to us before May the 14th, and that is for DL 4531806 CC Ventures LLC.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item, RR 7136368 The Social. I will turn this, I'm sitting as hearing judge on this matter, so I will turn this over to the vice chairman.
Thank you. Again, RR 7136368 The Social LLC comes to us for hearing today.
Yes, we had previously issued a 60-day extension on this permit. We were hoping that it would have some movement on the four pending violations. I understand that it still needs work. I'm going to move that we grant the remaining 30 days on the extension for RR 7136368. I'm sorry, 36368, The Social LLC.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that a 30-day extension be granted under RR 7136368 The Social LLC. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed and abstaining?
Aye.
Okay. We'll show that the motion passes 2-0 then with one abstention.
All right, next on the agenda. We have, we've received a renewal application for permit 7737210, City of Sullivan Redevelopment Commission. So that takes, can we take it by consent to remove that from the list of permits to be made inactive?
Consent.
Okay, I will show that removed by consent. So then that takes it to 6 permits to be made inactive from the 4/21/26 meeting.
I incorporate by reference these lists of permit application to be made dead and hereby move for approval of same. In inclusion of this list and these permits as part of the minutes of the May 6, 2026 meeting to be made dead on May 6, 2026.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Motion carries. There are 25 permits that are being announced today that will be made inactive on May 19th if we don't receive those renewals. Just a note about the end of the month, escrow hearings for May will be on Wednesday, May 27th instead of that Tuesday. Not seeing any other items on the agenda.
Hang on 1 second. There
Okay,
may be one we have to add. Hang on 1 second while we review it.
it looks like we have an extension request for permit DL 7034158 Rushville G Mart Incorporated.
Correct.
No.
Do they have violations?
Hang on 1 second. I'm checking that information.
What I show is that they have 2 pending violations. I'd be curious whether they've engaged and appeared for their settlement conferences.
Jessica, did I send an email on that? I think they may have a hearing scheduled. On
Okay,
the
so they
spreadsheet.
have, all right. That's important that the permittees actually engage in those processes, and it sounds like they have and have it set for a hearing.
Hang on 1 second.
While we're considering, Madam Chair, can I move that we add this to the agenda by consent?
Yes, we can show it added to the agenda. Well, is there consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Consent.
Consent.
All right, I will show that added to the agenda by consent.
They have submitted a correction action plan. And the hearing is scheduled for May the 28th. I'm gonna move that we grant an extension to June the 16th for DL 7034158 Rushville G Mart Inc. And hopefully some movement can be made on pending violations.
Second.
Well, Vice Chairman, this is not on my calendar, so I believe it's on your calendar for the hearing.
Okay.
You're here.
Oh.
Make sure it's your second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no.
I
will note-
abstain.
I will note 1 abstention. And just for the record, I haven't reviewed those violations, but it will be considered to be strict compliance for the term of this extension while the violation matter is pending. All right, now not seeing any other items on the agenda unless somebody stops me. All those in favor, or I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.